This video, let's have a quick look at um, how DENT immuno launch in 20 countries could bring more users for DENT's adoption. So let's have a quick statistics on the world tourist metrics. So if you look at this is a article from Wikipedia. So these are the most visited destinations by international tourist arrivals. You got to remember these are international tourists, not local people contributing to the tourism industry. So France is on the top in the list. So you can see it's 89.4 million users, and Spain ranks second. Then you have United States. These are international tourists every year, and you can see the number keeps increasing compared with 2017 to 2018. It's close to uh, more than 2% to 3% increase in just in France alone. So the tourist numbers are pretty much increasing. And then you have geographically distributed list as well, like Africa has got this many countries, and then you have in Americas like US, Mexico, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Cuba, Colombia. Then in Asia, China tops on the list. China, Thailand, and Japan. So the interesting thing is Japan is already in the list of eSIM offering for DENT. So let's have a quick look. So what are the other countries in Asia Pacific they could target for as part of their DENT eSIM launch? And then in Europe you have this many countries. So Europe pretty much big one, and yep. So this is Middle East. Turkey is on the top as well, so which is roughly around 38 million users they have. And then you have Egypt, and then Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates as well. So let's have a quick look. I made a quick big list of all the countries, and there are some countries which are friendly for tourists. When I say friendly in the sense, it means they provide free roaming. So from your home country, you could use the data elements that you have in your home country straight in the those friendly nations. So let's sort this list just by countries which provide free roaming. So they have an international agreement for free roaming. So you can see these are the countries which are providing free roaming. So in that list, the countries with free roaming alone contribute 575 million tourists every year. That's an interesting number, huge number. So in this list, we don't know what countries DENT is going to provide the eSIM offering. So any of them, if they provide in this list, is a huge win. That's the point I'm trying to make, because the number is huge. It's close to 575 million users. So any of these countries, if you're watching, you can see France, Spain, United States, Italy, Germany, United Kingdom, Brazil, Mecca, Hong Kong, and then you have bigger ones like Austria, Greece. Oh, we might lucky to get Greece as well. So Greece has got a big number of tourists as well, international tourists, which is close to 30 million users. So, but these countries, they provide free roaming agreement. So if you are coming from one of these countries, and if you go to any one of these countries other than your home country, you will be able to use your free data within your allowance, basically. So let's have a quick look. That's the big number. 575 million users travel to these countries, and they already have free roaming agreement with their providers. That's pretty interesting. So that is a huge number that DENT could grab in this area as well. Let's have a quick look at what are the countries which don't have the international agreement, and they don't provide free roaming, free international roaming from other countries. So this is the big list. In that list, we already have Japan in that list, which is close to 32 million users. So that is interesting number. There is a huge potential for DENT to grab a huge number of users from Japan alone. And then the total countries with no international roaming agreement contributes to roughly 411.6 million travelers, tourists. So we have to wait and see whether they could nail one of these countries, basically Thailand, Mexico. These three are big numbers. Then we have the other big one is Canada, and then we have Japan. Malaysia is in the target list as well. Russia, and then we have United Arab Emirates as well, and Saudi Arabia. So we got to wait and watch. But what I'm trying to make here is there is a huge opportunity for DENT to monetize the tourist industry. So all these tourists at the moment going to all these many countries, which is roughly around 30 countries, which don't have international agreement for roaming, and then just these top 10 countries account for 200 million travelers. Just if I take into account like China, Thailand, and South Africa, and then you have Japan, Malaysia, and South Korea and Russia. They account for roughly 200 million users just from those countries. We have to wait and watch what's their countries of launch are going to be. But either way, whether they launch in either the free roaming countries or the countries with no roaming, they have a huge opportunity there, independent of where they launch. And even if they manage to get the problem with the current prepaid MNO offerings are every MNO offering has a minimum um, period lock-in period. Like say if you don't top up in 6 months time, you will lose your number basically. So that's how the prepaid market works. So they want you to keep topping up at least once every 6 months. That's a prerequisite, and a lot of people tourists they can't do that technically because um, they will be traveling once in a year and not every 6 months basically, and just for keeping the number they can't just top it up for free and not having to use, even though the credit gets carried forward, but not the won't be using, but money is held in their others in the provider's account basically. So if Dent could change that and provide, like say you lock minimum, as long as you have few dents left in your account, your number is yours, simple as that. And that is pretty huge change shift in the prepaid market now, because the current prepaid market locks the users for a specific number of period of time, and even though you don't use, you are a traveler once in a year, then imagine you are a tourist, you go once in a year for some countries, so then that's a huge market as well. So if they say Dent says like manage to get through their immune offering at least 1 million users, let's say, because the tourism industry is huge, as you can see, 416 just from no roaming countries is close to 1 billion tourists we are seeing. So the global population is nearly 7.6 billion. In that, 1 in 8 person in the world travels somewhere, period. Just simple maths. So 1 in 8 people in the world is a traveler at least once to any of these countries. So that's a huge number. So this one is 416, and if I change it to just the countries with full roaming agreement, that is 575. 575 plus 411 is easily 1.2 billion people. So 1 in 8 people is a traveler. That's a huge market that we tend to monetize. So even if in that 1.2 billion people, I'm being very conservative. If Tens Immuno start in that 1.2 billion people, just let's say 1% of the people, which is just like 1 million user. So if they get 1 million eSIM users, Dent eSIM users using Dent as a provider, that's a huge number. And if let's say they all participate in the afterburner program as well, that's added bonus, right? So you lock in your Dent and then you get free minutes, and then you don't lose your credits basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And your value is yours as long as you have Dent in your account. Your number is yours. So that's a simple strategy they could bring forth. Even if, let's say, 1 million users, then if everybody locks up a minimum of 30,000 dents, because minimum requirement for participating in the afterburner is 30,000 dents. So 30,000 times 1 million, that's a wipeout of 30 billion tokens straight away from the supply. So right now we have a supply of, let's say, let's have a look at what's the supply, current supply in the exchanges of DENT. So right now there's 33 billion tokens are circulating in the exchanges. This is a metrics we get from this website. They provide the number of circulating tokens in all the exchanges. So here you can see 33 billion is in circulation. Imagine through the DENT immuno offering, if they manage to get 1 million paid regular users with having their using DENT as their provider for tourism or for business travel, then 1 million times 30,000 tokens is will take away 30 billion tokens directly away from the circulating supply in the cryptocurrency exchanges. That is how scarcity will bring in, by usage, not by hype. This is a natural organic way of bringing scarcity to an asset without any speculative part tied to it. I'm talking, this is basic organic economics with no speculative trading part. I'm not talking about the trading aspect or the speculative aspect of this nature of the token. Just by organic growth, by the metrics of bringing 1 million paid MUNO, 1 million users using DENT as an eSIM, because you have 1.2 billion global users, right? So that 1.2 billion global users, travelers, we don't know how much revenue they could bring in. So that it's the natural way of, and then if you add the speculative side of the token, the crypto kitties are going to look this as this is going to be huge, right? Even if DENT hits 0.00001, because right now the price is pretty low at the moment. So you can see the price of DENT right now is pretty much hammered. So even if it's to go to 0.001 again, that will put the market cap at 110 billion very easily. So at 110 billion, you can imagine what number ranking it would be on CMC. So with a market cap of 110 million, DENT could be easily on probably top 50. We could be around here, beating Omisko very easily. So there are quite a lot of crypto tokens who don't even haven't launched their product yet, even since their ICO days. Like if you look at Omisko, there's no product yet. They are still developing, and it's been like for what, around 2.5 years. But DENT being said, they raised only 4 million through their ICO, but they have a solid product, and they are getting a niche space into the immuno market now. So they are a mobile network operator from 2020. And then imagine you have this messaging feature hooked up into the app. So that is a huge gain as well. So with messaging feature, you can share your DENT tokens to another traveler or your friend or family very easily. So porting of tokens becomes much easier. That is going to be getting interesting as well. So we are going to see a huge growth in the number of users going forward. So yep, let's see how it plays out, because now we have Afterburner launched as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see from 2020 how DENT is going to increase their adoption. Thanks.